Listen, if you dive down about 5,000 feet below the ocean surface, you're going to start noticing something really weird. All those cute little sea creatures you see near the beach, yeah, they don't exist down here. Instead, you get things that look like they were designed by someone having a really bad fever dream. Bodies get stretched out, eyes blow up to massive sizes, or just disappear completely. Things start growing weird bits in places where they definitely shouldn't be growing. It's like evolution looked at normal animals and said, you know what? Let's make these absolutely unhinged. But no creature group gets hit harder by this deep-sea horror show than squids. Some turn completely see-through like glass. Others swap their normal suckers for literal hooks. And the ones living at the very bottom, they turn into something that genuinely looks like it crawled out of a nightmare. These aren't your average squids anymore. These are creatures that make giant squids look normal. So why does this happen? Why do squids specifically seem to get more and more disturbing the deeper you go? And what is actually causing this transformation? Welcome to Ocean Depths, and let's break it down. First, remember where these squids live, because you will not accidentally run into the creepy ones while you're swimming at the beach. Most squids you'll ever see look pretty normal. Take the reef squid, for example. It lives in shallow water, has a regular squid shape, and honestly looks kinda cute. This is what most people picture when they think squid. But the second you start going deeper into the ocean, they start to look more weird. Not horror movie weird yet, but definitely strange. You'll find squids like the firefly squid, which develop the ability to glow in the dark. That's actually pretty cool, not creepy. Then there's glass squids that are almost transparent, like they're made of glass. Definitely weirder than reef squids, but still not nightmare fuel. But at the bottom of this twilight zone is where we meet our first truly creepy squid, the Humboldt squid. These things are massive, over 6 feet long and weighing up to 100 pounds. And they're the first squids to evolve hooks instead of normal suckers. Hooks designed to tear flesh apart. Unlike most squids that mind their own business, Humboldt squids are straight up aggressive. They hunt in groups. They flash red and white patterns on their skin to communicate while attacking prey. They even eat each other, literally cannibalizing weaker members of their own species. That's why people call them the red devils of the sea. And it's not just because they're red. These squids can swim up to 25 miles per hour, which is way faster than any human could ever swim. So are they dangerous to us? Honestly, kind of. They can definitely hurt you with those hooks, but they probably won't actively hunt you down because you're too big. They prefer smaller prey like shrimp, crabs, and smaller squids. But if you keep descending into what's called the midnight zone, the squids you find here have fully crossed over into pure horror territory. Everyone can agree these things are terrifying here. Meet the Promachoteuthis, the squid with what looks like human teeth. This thing has what appears to be a full set of human-looking teeth in its mouth. Who designed this? Why does it exist? These aren't actually teeth, though. They're folded lips made of soft tissue that surround the squid's beak. The good news is only one of these has ever been caught, and it was barely an inch long. The bad news is we haven't found more, partly because it's so hard to explore that deep, and partly because these squids are just extremely rare, which is probably a good thing, actually. On the complete opposite side of the size scale in this zone is the giant squid. This is the longest squid in the entire world and the most obvious example of deep-sea gigantism. These things can grow up to 45 feet long, though we found so few of them that we don't even really know their size limits. Giant squids have the biggest eyes in the entire animal kingdom, bigger than dinner plates. And because they're so absolutely massive, they're actually dangerous. They're famous for fighting sperm whales that dive thousands of feet down to hunt them. We know this because whale skin has scars from giant squid tentacles, and scientists have found squid beaks inside whale stomachs. Most people think this is what the Kraken legends were based on. These squids are built for the deep ocean, huge bodies made of pure muscle, 2 tentacles with suckers lined with tiny teeth, a beak hard enough to slice through prey. They're terrifying, which is why they're so famous. They're ambush predators that lurk in pitch-black water and strike at fish or other squids. There's a lot of cannibalism happening with these deep-sea squids. So why do they get so huge? There are a few theories. One is that in the freezing, cold, deep ocean where food is super scarce, having a bigger body helps conserve energy. Bigger bodies can store more nutrients and move more efficiently over long distances. Another theory is that bigger animals can travel further to find food or mates in such an empty environment. But here's the wild part. Despite these squids being absolutely massive, we know almost nothing about them. We don't know how many exist, and we don't know how long they live. We don't know how they reproduce or where they lay eggs. That's what makes them so fascinating and creepy at the same time. But we're not even at the creepiest squids yet because we haven't gotten close to the ocean floor. Even deeper than the midnight zone is the abyssal zone. You can just call it the abyss because that's basically what it is. An endless, pitch-black void stretching from 13,000 to 20,000 feet below the surface. Zero sunlight can reach here. The pressure is crushing. The temperature is barely above freezing. Everything moves in this weird, eerie slow motion. There are no plants down here. Most food is just marine snow, which is basically dead stuff falling from above. What lives here? Only the most specialized creatures like deep-sea worms, sea cucumbers, jellyfish, and of course, squids. One example is Aspertoothus acanthoderma, an insanely thin but super long squid that reaches up to 15 feet. All it does is drift. It's almost completely gelatinous. We barely know anything about it because of how deep it lives. It probably hunts with its long, trailing arms that extend out, maybe sensing vibrations. But honestly, a lot about these squids is just unknown. At the bottom of the abyssal zone lives the only squid heavier than the giant squid, the colossal squid. I know these names are getting confusing, but stay with me. The colossal squid is a completely different species from giant squids. They're not even closely related. What's the difference? Giant squids are long, lean, and fast. Colossal squids are shorter but still nearly 35 feet long, way thicker, and absolutely massive. It's an ambush predator too, but in a different way. It spots tiny movements in the dark, then strikes with hooked tentacles that twist and dig into flesh. Once it grabs something, it drags the prey in and tears it apart with a beak that can slice through bone. This thing is the heavyweight champion of squids. The heaviest one ever recorded was over 1,000 pounds. Scientists think the biggest ones could reach up to 1,300 pounds. Each eye is about 11 inches across, and in larger adults, they might be even bigger than giant squid eyes, making them potentially the largest eyes in the animal kingdom. So who would win in a fight between giant and colossal? Honestly, it's close. The giant squid has a longer reach and is faster, but the colossal squid is such a tank. It's heavier, thicker, and armed with rotating hooks instead of just suction cups. In a close fight, the colossal would probably overpower the giant with pure brute strength. But this would never actually happen because they don't live in the same areas. Giant squids stick to the midnight zone, where it's slightly warmer with more oxygen. Colossal squids are found only in the abyssal zone near Antarctica, too deep for giant squids to go. What they do have in common, though, both are hunted by sperm whales. These whales dive thousands of feet into total darkness just to hunt squids, using echolocation to find them. When whales come back up, their heads are covered in circular scars from the battle. Scientists have found giant beaks inside whale stomachs, the only part of a squid that doesn't digest because it's so hard. So what's even deeper than this? Below the abyssal zone is the Humboldt zone, the absolute bottom of the ocean. It starts around 20,000 feet deep and goes all the way to the deepest point on Earth, the Mariana Trench, nearly 36,000 feet down. The Humboldt zone is mostly ocean trenches and deep valleys. What lives here? Basically nothing. It's so deep that barely anything survives past some simple organisms like worms and microbes. And the most terrifying squid to ever exist. All the way at the bottom lives the magna pinna, also known as the bigfin squid. I'll let you look up photos of this thing, because honestly, words don't do it justice. It looks like something from an alien horror movie. What does this squid do? We literally don't know. We've never caught one alive. We've never studied a full adult. We only know they exist from grainy underwater camera footage. Scientists think they don't really swim, but just drift slowly. The ones we found are about 20 feet long, still smaller than giant squids, but honestly, I'd rather meet a giant squid than whatever this nightmare is. We don't know the size limits because we've only found juveniles. Even the Humboldt zone is so deep that these squids have only been spotted in the upper parts. So why did this squid evolve to look so absolutely disturbing? Here's the thing. It's all about survival, not just making nightmares for fun. Movement burns energy, and energy is incredibly precious when you are that deep. So instead of swimming around hunting, the bigfin is designed to just hang there motionless, drifting, and waiting. The weird elbow bend in each arm helps it control its net of tentacles. By keeping its arms angled like that, it can hover without tangling them up. Even its colorless, transparent skin serves a purpose. Light doesn't exist down there, but if a predator glows with bioluminescence, being transparent means the bigfin reflects almost nothing. It's basically invisible. This is all speculation, though, because we have no real proof, but it's the best answer we have for why they look so creepy. And creepy doesn't necessarily mean dangerous. For all we know, these squids could be completely harmless to humans. But honestly, the creepiest part is how much we don't know. They live so deep that we know way more about giant squids, and we barely know anything about those. If something like the bigfin exists down there, what else could be lurking that we haven't seen yet? The truth is, we've explored less than 5% of the deep ocean. That means there could be dozens of undiscovered squid species, some potentially even bigger than anything we've found. Some scientists think there might be larger relatives of the bigfin that move so slowly submersibles might pass right by them without noticing. Even the squids we do know about were basically discovered by accident. We only knew giant and colossal squids existed because of sperm whales, and sperm whales don't even go deep enough to reach the Hadal zone where the bigfin lives. So why do squids get so ugly and creepy when they go deep? It all comes down to the extreme environment they're living in. The deeper you go, the weirder the conditions get. No light, crushing pressure, freezing temperatures, almost no food. Every adaptation these squids develop is about surviving in those impossible conditions. Transparency helps them hide in the darkness. Huge eyes help them detect the tiniest bit of light or movement. Long drifting arms help them catch food without wasting energy. Hooks help them grab slippery prey in the dark. Massive size helps them store energy and survive longer without food. Bioluminescence helps them communicate or hunt. And the deeper you go, the more extreme the adaptations need to be. That's why the bigfin squid at the very bottom looks so much weirder than the reef squid at the surface. It's been shaped by millions of years of evolution in the most extreme conditions imaginable. But as much as I think squids are fascinating, I'm honestly not that eager to discover what's even creepier than the bigfin. Some mysteries might be better left at the bottom of the ocean where they belong. If you found this deep-sea nightmare fuel interesting, hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to Ocean Depths because we're just getting started. What ocean mystery should we dive into next? Let us know below.